You've seen him in movies, the Chinese kung fu master Wang Fei Hung, or Huang Fei Hong in Mandarin. He has been played by Jet Li, Eddie Peng, and if we go way back, Quan Tak Hing or Guan De Xing in Mandarin. He played Huang Fei Hong in 77 movies. And if we add all those together, there are over 100 movies featuring Wang Fei Hung, who was a real historical character. In this video, we are going to separate fact from fiction and answer the question, who was the real Wang Fei Hung? So Wang Fei Hung, or Huang Fei Hong, was born in Foshan in Guangdong province in the south of China in 1847, according to some sources, or according to the Foshan Museum, 1856. Now, Wang Fei Hung's father, Wang Kei Ying, was also a martial artist. Here's a picture of what he allegedly looked like, which is probably nothing like him, but it's all we have, guys. Now, the father was part of a group called the 10 Tigers of Canton, Guangdong Shihu. He sold Chinese medicine and also performed martial arts on the streets. And as a child, Wang Fei Hung would accompany his father on trips to the capital of Guangdong province, Guangzhou, where he would perform. And thus, young Wang Fei Hung started to learn his father's kung fu style of Hung Gar, or in Mandarin, we call it Hong Jia Quan, the Hong family fist. Wang Fei Hung's father had supposedly learned Hong Jia Quan from a man named Luk Ah Choi, who had been a student of Ji Xin, or Zhi Shan Chan Shi, one of the 5 elders of Shaolin who survived the supposed burning down of the Shaolin temple and fled south. That story is debatable whether it even happened, but it forms the backstory for most southern styles of kung fu. We have a video all about the 5 elders of Shaolin. It looks like this. I will put it on the end screen of this video for you to check out. So anyway, Wang Fei Hung learns kung fu from his father. Hong Jia Quan is also referred to as the tiger crane combination style and features techniques of those 2 animals with compact stances and low kicks. So his kung fu most likely wouldn't have been as acrobatic as what you see in the Jet Li movies, which are now probably the most well-known portrayal of the character. As he was growing up, he learned forms such as Tie Xian Quan, which is part of Hong Jia Quan, and also a weapon called Fei Ta, which is this dart or piece of stone on the end of a rope. We don't see that in the movies, at least I don't recall seeing it, but there are scenes of Wang Fei Hung using other flexible weapons. And of course, many staff battles in movies, and that is accurate since the staff is one of the basic weapons in Hong Jia Quan. During his teenage years, he also supposedly learned the shadowless kick, Wu Ying Jiao. This technique was mentioned in a book written by one of his students. Then, if you really want to get into just rumors that might have been made up, he also apparently learned the drunken style from one of the other 10 Tigers of Canton, So Chan or Su Can in Mandarin, who is often referred to as Beggar So. This is the character in the movie Drunken Master that teaches the drunken style to Jackie Chan's character, who you might not know is actually Wang Fei Hung. And in the Once Upon a Time in China series with Jet Li, they also show Wang Fei Hung doing the drunken style to pay homage to this part of the legend. Then in Once Upon a Time in China 3, we see Wang Fei Hung participating in a lion dance competition that turns violent as different schools fight amongst themselves. There is good evidence that Wang Fei Hung was proficient at lion dance. For one, he came from Foshan, which was like the epicenter of lion dance in Guangdong province, which was already a center for the art within China. And descendants of Wang's students in Hong Kong also affirm that he was a lion dance master. As a kid, I also practiced Hung Gar or Hong Jia Quan, and the school I practiced in also did lion dance. When he was 16, Wang Fei Hung moved to Guangzhou, the capital of Guangdong province, and opened a martial arts school. He later opened his Chinese medical clinic there, and that is the Bao Zhilin clinic that you see in movies. You might know it by the Cantonese pronunciation, something like Po Chi Lam. And here is a picture of what it actually looks like today. The name comes from a poetic couplet written for him by one of his students. 宝剑腾霄汉，枝花变上林. It means something like, the precious sword soars into the sky and the flowers bloom all over the forest. Wang Fei Hung took the first 2 characters of each line, Bao and Zhi, and then the last character, Lin, which means forest, and abridged the saying into the name of his clinic. So he did become a well-known martial artist and traditional Chinese medical doctor in Guangzhou. It is thought that Wang Fei Hung became a trainer of the local militia in Guangzhou too, and then went with the Black Flag Army to fight the Japanese in Taiwan before returning to Guangzhou and working as a bouncer and going back to his medical clinic. But there is actually not much proof of any of that. It's just word of mouth stories from his students, but we do see references to it in the Jet Li movies. What we do know is that in 1924 there was an uprising against the Republican Army in Guangzhou, and in the incident many businesses were burned down, including his Baozhilin medical clinic. This led Wang into depression and illness, and he died that year. So that is really most of what is known about his life. What about some of the big questions though? Do we know what he looked like? Who were his disciples? And how did he become so famous? So the most common photo used to depict Wang Feiheng is this one, which was given to a reporter from a magazine called Zhen Gong Fu, or Real Kung Fu, in 1976, by Wang Feiheng's fourth wife, who was still alive at the time. But it was later revealed that this photo was actually a photo of one of his sons who looked like him. Here is a comparison with another confirmed photo of the same son when he was a bit older. He's obviously aged, but you can see it's the same guy. Most of his actual photos were believed to have been lost in the Baozhilin medical clinic fire. But then in 2005, another photo surfaced. This one, which is believed to have been taken by his student Kwong K-Tim, who Wang's wife said once took a portrait of Wang. It was found by a worker at a certain museum, and on the back of the picture was written, "Portrait of Wang Feiheng, Kwong Kai-Tim." So it must be true. It says it's him, and it even says the photographer's name. The blog Practical Hung Kyun even said they could see scars on his face that look like pockmarks, which Wang Feiheng is said to have had. To be honest, I can't really see anything, but maybe they had a higher resolution photo than me. It's still not really confirmed whether this is him, but this picture hasn't been disproven yet, at least. And this is now the picture usually used in articles about him. So then what about his students? Which were real and which were fake? Well, in the movies they did make up some fictional students, but out of the real ones there were two that are particularly notable. One is Leung Fun, who is kind of like his sidekick in some of the Jet Li movies. And this is significant since Leung Fun was supposedly Wang Feiheng's best student that he taught everything he knew to. However, Leung Fun is said to have died young. Then there is another famous student, Lam Sai Wing, often known as Butcher Wing or the Magnificent Butcher. In the movies, he's often portrayed as a fat guy. I mean, he is a butcher, so it's kind of stereotypical. Here he is portrayed by Sammo Hung in The Magnificent Butcher fighting another fat guy. But here is what he actually looked like in the 1920s. And there's actually a cool 3D animation that was done by capturing some of the photographs of him in different poses and stringing them together with a 3D model. And so this is him doing the iron thread fist, or 铁线拳. And it seems that Butcher Wing is the real reason that Wang Feiheng became famous. According to a Hong Kong documentary about Wang, he really was not very famous during his lifetime. There are no newspaper reports on him in Foshan or in Guangzhou. It was actually after his death that his student, known as Butcher Wing, moved to Hong Kong and started a kung fu school there. One of his students was a newspaper reporter and wanted to write stories about Wang Feiheng. Here's an account of what happened.
收咗喺報館工作嘅徒弟叫做朱如齋，朱如齋讀過卜卜齋，頗通文墨。黃飛鴻去世10年後啊，佢開始喺香港工商晚報咧連載小說《黃飛鴻別傳》。
And these stories became wildly popular. Yet how much is really true? Well, it's hard to know. Obviously, Butcher Wing told stories about his master to this student, and then perhaps the student fictionalized them further as newspaper columns, and it gave rise to a legend. Sorry, I couldn't resist. So Wang Feiheng was either an accomplished martial artist but led a very normal life, or he was out there battling bad guys, saving the day, or somewhere in between. But one thing I'm sure he never did though was this. He never teamed up with a cowboy to battle Native American Indians in America, okay? He passed away in 1924 in China, and probably the furthest he went was Taiwan. Alright guys, that is the video for today. I hope you liked it. If you want to see traditional Chinese dance on stage, which has many of the same moves and the same roots as Chinese Kung Fu, do check out Shenyun Performing Arts. It is the world's leading Chinese performing arts touring company. They have 8 performance companies that tour the world simultaneously, and my co-host on this show, Jared, is the MC for one of those companies. If you are interested, do click the link below to check out the trailer, and if you do go on to buy a ticket, you can get a waived booking fee on all US shows with our code LCN2025. The tour starts in just a few weeks. We hope to see you in the audience. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. You can check out our video on the Shaolin 5 Elders on screen now if you like, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.